Welcome to the Awaken Sober Podcast, a podcast about life and recovery through Christ. I'm glad everybody's out there joining us today. If you're new to this podcast, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
You couldn't let it go that time, could he?
I couldn't. No. Go ahead, D.
So today we're going to be talking about suicidal ideations, what it is, how to recognize it, and what to do if you or someone you know is dealing with these issues. All right? So Jeremy, welcome. How you doing today, man?
I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. That simple.
I'm just glad that that Shane's not mad at me.
Why would I be mad at you?
Yeah. It says take two, everybody.
Yes.
He's
He's going through a shame and guilt situation right now.
But he should be. I mean, he's over there trying to do something brand new.
Yes.
Work a soundboard plus work a mic. And nah, man, I'm proud of you, brother. I'm glad you realized when you did and not the end. So I'm not mad at all. I mean, I guarantee you I would have done it. So
yeah, if we made it all the way through the podcast, if we didn't record, I'd have went home.
That would have been frustrating.
It would have been it.
see, I would have stayed for take two. Let's just do it.
I got a tree to cut down.
But
That's what I'm concerned about.
And here goes the thing. We've been needing a checklist. We haven't made a checklist, so we're going to make a checklist.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
And that way everybody knows what needs to be done, and we can just go through the checklist each week.
We need a miniature fathead over there for a checklist.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
They actually have them.
I bet they do.
Christina has one.
There you go.
But it's more of a task-oriented, but that would be perfect for this.
Yes.
So, yeah. Nah, man, I'm proud of you, brother. Thank you for stepping up.
Thank you. How are you doing, Shane?
After a crappy week? No, I'm doing well today. Today was my first full day of I haven't been nauseous, sick, anything. So it's been lovely because last week just sucked. It sucked. I hated being that sick. Tuesday, I don't know what happened, but I slept until 10:40 p.m. I woke up and I walked into the kitchen. I'm like, that time's got to be wrong. It's 10:40 and it's dark outside. And so I go in and ask Christina, I'm like, baby, is it Tuesday? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, you let me sleep all day? She goes, you were sick. And I'm like, well, I know I was sick, but I wanted to get up and do stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I don't care. But she just let me sleep. And Wednesday, Thursday, I started feeling better. And then I ate some wonderful food that made me really nauseous. So I went home sick again on Thursday. Then Friday, I started feeling better, had a cigar with you, and then I seen you, and I started feeling, no. I talked about that wonderful food that I had on Thursday, and it made me sick again. And I was sick all night long afterwards. So today, so yesterday I was able to wake up and talk about food and not get nauseous from it.
That's good.
Yeah, so I'm on the mend, and I'm feeling better. And normally we would have one other person sometimes before you end up saying how you are, but we'll go back to that other person. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. And I got to say, I didn't think about it at first, but since we are talking about suicidal ideation and a lot of the signs that we're going to be showing, yesterday was my brother's birthday. I lost him 2 years ago to an overdose, and was actually able to manage yesterday and not feel as bad as I had before in my past, when I would have thoughts of people who had passed away and stuff like that. So it was good.
Good.
Well, I'm glad you went through it and you did it well. And that just shows that taking care of our mental health is huge for us. And I know you've talked about it a lot on the show, but how you manage your mental health now versus before, I'm proud of you, and it's good to see. I really am. And I guess for the empty seat person.
Yes. So as you guys will come to notice, James is no longer with us for the time being. And that James.
Jimmy John, our DJ.
Shane's here, yes. Jimmy James is gone. He stepped down.
He says that he went to Summit. I mean, this is the neat thing about Summit is it really makes us reflect on whose we are, on who we are, how we're serving God. And James runs all the time. And so he has so many things on his plate, and he's going to step away from the podcast. He says, look, man, you guys got 3 people that could do it. And we can't do some of the things that James can do. I mean, we can figure it out.
As we found out earlier.
Yeah, right. I mean, just hitting a record button can be difficult sometimes when you're not used to it. But look, James is going to be able to go through this season of his life, figure out where he really needs to be and say, hey, this is my purpose. This is where I need to live. And that's what we have to figure out. If James was at Summit and figured out his purpose, oh, man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for him.
Nothing but love for you, James. When you listen to this podcast, just want you to know our hearts are with you.
Yeah, we'll miss you, brother.
Without a doubt.
Now, we will go ahead and say, if anybody out there knows how to run a soundboard, a switcher that we have over here that we need to hook up now for the different cameras, or anybody that likes to edit video,
yes,
just
please.
send
We
us
haven't
an
been
email, info@awakensober.org, and we will get back to you, and we will hire you, and we'll double your pay compared to what Derek gets.
Yeah.
Good luck. So we have not been on YouTube for the last 2 weeks, and I've had people contact me about it because that's the only. They only thought we were podcasting on YouTube, and I try to share with them. No, we're on every podcast platform out there. You can listen to us. And we will get our video back up as soon as one of y'all get in touch with us.
Well, no, I mean, I'm going to go home and work my butt off to get it done tonight. Probably won't be as cool as James.
No.
Not for a little while until I can figure that side of things out. But Jeremy, Big Perm, did tell me, he's like, they would have put a video with it. You could have still put the podcast up on YouTube. I'm like, yeah, I could have. So I'll probably put the other ones up there and let them do the video, just like a still picture from something else, and they'll just use that for the video. And I think it'd be better than having nothing.
Okay.
But I will try to get to that. Ladies and gentlemen, Sasha is here.
Yes. I was going to say for our new host, as she's up there talking.
Yeah, my little man just got home, so she's going.
That was funny.
Good timing.
Yep.
So suicidal ideations.
Yes. What is a suicidal ideation?
A thought or plan of ending one's life.
Right. And keep in mind that not all thoughts have plans.
Correct.
Like the passive suicidal ideation, it's the thoughts of if I could just go to sleep and not wake up, which I know is really big in the addictive world. We get caught up in our addictions and that, and just sometimes we just want to go to sleep. Like everybody else, everything else will be so much better without us. If I just go to sleep and not wake up, then my kids will get paid from the state or whatever thoughts that come through the mind. And yeah, I say that because that was thoughts I've had in my head before. This is speaking deadly straight from experience, man. So
I would say it's not just like the addiction world. If you think through Celebrate Recovery, we get it a lot in the different groups.
Yes.
That's how people talk. And we train what to look for. And so then people freak out, and I'm like, well, we got to have a conversation with them still. But yeah, I mean, just in the recovery world in general or anywhere in the world, you hear those kind of comments all the time, that passiveness. So,
and it can be something it can be something as simple as like, oh, I'd be better off if I was gone.
yeah.
Or my family would be better off without me. Or if I got hit by a truck on the middle of 70, it wouldn't be a big deal. It's not just going to sleep and not waking up. There's a lot more to it.
And that's still a scary. There's red flags that should go up.
Yes.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's a scary place because as we know, as we go through the rest of them, it starts somewhere.
So we're going to be sharing a lot of those signs with you guys today because we want you guys to be able to recognize these if it inside yourself or someone you're close to, or actually someone you just meet at work. Because we all deal with it. You guys, we're not alone at this. We've all had our issues. I'm sure everybody at this table, at this podcast right now has had a moment in their darkness of the whole situation, right? Yeah. I know Pastor Shane, he likes to share it in his testimony. And that.
Darn right.
Yeah. So we want everybody to know out there, you're not alone. There's somebody out there you can talk to, without a doubt. And, I mean, if all else, 988, 3 simple numbers right next to each other. You can dial and talk to the hotline.
You can even text that number.
Yes, you can text that.
You don't
number.
even have to pick up the phone and talk to anybody.
That's a little crazy. I like that though. Yeah, if you're one of the individuals out there like some of us can be, and we don't want to talk to nobody, text them.
Yep.
Just send a text, and somebody will get back with you.
Yeah, it's easy to hide behind something and at least text. And we'd love to have. We want you here.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. We want you to be alive tomorrow. And we want to help walk a journey with you. So whatever it takes, just do it. But 988, what an awesome service.
Yep.
Right.
It's a lot better than that 800 number they used to have, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't an 800 number. It was an 888 number.
Was it 888? Oh, I thought it was, okay. I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah, it's still 800, 888.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. Call 188, want to stay alive.
Yeah.
And if you're like one of them computer individuals and everything's online for you, there is the 988lifeline.org.
Yep.
That you can actually send an email out to somebody and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing all the resources, and not all more resources becoming available for people. I think if we'll take care of mental health a little better, that would still go down. But what else do we have then, D? What other kind of suicidal ideations?
We have the active, which is usually an individual that has a plan written out or, wrote a note like some individuals we know, has a plan, has the means of doing this and the instruments to take their life. And we have the acute, which is more of a mild to moderate thoughts and feelings and
moderate to severe.
Mild to severe.
Yeah.
Mild to severe. Yeah, let's get the moderate part right.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's really look at it. All suicidal ideations are severe. If you're really going through a situation, you really need to look into it and talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that.
Yeah, I think the acute is more really about length of time even in it. Because almost everywhere you go to the acute first.
Yeah.
Yep.
They love their acute side
Yes,
first.
they do.
So,
And then there's the chronic, and that's the one that's been dealing with the depression and all that for such a period of time that, they've come to the point where they find out that's the only answer that they feel. Not that they find out, I'm sorry, scratch that, but they feel that's the only answer they have is to.
I'm thinking they should change the name.
What? Chronic?
Needs to be something else.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it would be. I can't really think of it. So, where did you find yourself on that list, Jeremy?
Oh.
I know it wasn't something you were thinking was going to get asked.
No.
That's what makes it fun.
Yeah. You know what? I went from passive to chronic. And I went pretty quick. And that's, I'm open about sharing it now as well. But the passive thoughts were always there deep in my addiction. And then it was, I remember the day I wanted to end it all. I told one person where I was going to be, and that was it. And then a lot of stuff happened from that phone call to the time I ended up in treatment that exact same night. And I was nowhere close to that treatment facility at the time either. I was nowhere close to here. So, but yeah.
Hey, God moves. God moves people.
Mm-hmm.
So, Derek, have you ever found yourself anywhere on that list?
Well, I think I would like to say I've only been at the passive side of it because there's been many a times that I wish I could just go to bed and not wake up. When I was not in my daughter's lives, my daughters would have it better if I was to die because at least they'd get paid and that'd be more money than I'm giving to them now or things like that. But really, how many times I used and was hoping it was going to be the last one that I had to do because it was going to be the one that was going to take me. So I would have to say that I had gotten into the active part of suicidal ideations in my life. And
And I think it's
the first time I've ever shared that, guys. So,
and thank you for doing it.
Yes.
Because that's going to free somebody else, right? Look, anytime we're able to share stuff, Brent with the self-harm, you with this here, people that see you a certain way can now say, I can admit to it because Derek admitted it. I mean, anytime that we will admit to the things that we've been through, the worst things that we just do not want people to know, it will change a life and save a life. So thank you for sharing it, my brother.
Yeah. What about you? Where'd you fall in on that?
Actually, is what's funny is I think through it, I seen the progression.
Yeah.
I didn't just go from here to here. I went through each of them, and I sat in passive for probably 4 months, 3 months. And then all of a sudden, it went to active, and then it was on. Mm-hmm. And then 2 attempts in a matter of days. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, it sucks. But I love having that piece of my story because God said, look, I'm not done with you, so you're going to have to put up with this world a little bit longer.
I got a podcast in the future for you, man.
No, I didn't see that coming. But
It's going to have 4 or 5 listeners.
Right.
We got that in Texas alone.
Yeah. But it's been neat being able to share and giving people the freedom, the gift of going second.
Yep.
Yes.
No better way to put it. Giving them the gift of going second. And it's funny because they don't consider, obviously, people that didn't die from a suicide attempt. Do you know what they call them?
Lucky?
No, not lucky.
I'm sorry. That's
the 3-legged dog.
That's the
3-legged dog.
With one eye.
But they call them second day people. The survivors are our family. So anytime that someone takes their life, the survivors are the family members that are unfortunately left, right? Mm. Second day, second chance, second day.
Second day.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, man, that's beautiful.
Okay.
Because now we do have that new chance at life. And so just to hear it and know it, it's like, all right, I have to do something with this gift that God has given me now.
Mm-hmm. Right on. And the reason why we're bringing this out to everybody, I want to make sure everybody understands that these suicidal ideations have no respect of character, individual, race, color, whatever.
Race, color, creed.
Yeah.
Religion.
Yep. Class, you can low class, upper middle class, high, white collar people. And it's guaranteed that everybody listening to this podcast knows somebody dealing with some of these issues. Mm-hmm. And has had these thoughts, if not had them themselves.
I was about to say, if they get honest, they've at least had the passive.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know many that haven't. Okay, so in my circle of people I know, I don't know anybody that hasn't. So let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at work, at our job, that's one of the questions. We do the suicide risk assessments, and the first question we ask, have you had thoughts of going to sleep and not waking up? And there's people in there, oh, no, I've never had that. And don't lie about it. Be honest with yourself. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe once or twice, about 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, that's all I'm asking,
Yeah, it's when I was young.
Yeah.
And get that a lot.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You mean people are afraid to admit it.
Right.
And I know we said it before. Why are they afraid to admit to a suicidal ideation?
I feel a lot of it's to do with they don't want to be seen as a weak individual. It's a form of weakness. Taking your life is a form of weakness.
I don't want to be labeled.
Right.
No weakness. I don't want to be labeled.
I don't want to lose my toys.
Well, yeah, that's what I shared. The first
take.
In the first take. Yeah. I shared that. I was afraid to admit it because I didn't want my rights taken away. Yeah. My guns, my rights. What were they going to do to me? What were they going to label me as?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they labeled you. Don't worry.
Well, yeah, I know.
But you still have your guns.
I do.
But they still labeled you. And then there's the fear of being locked up.
Yep.
They're gonna hold me for 96 hours. I'm like, buddy, I haven't seen them hold anybody for 96 hours in quite some time.
Say the one hospital is 72. That's if somebody brings them in. They hold them for 72 hours.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen people out when an affidavit has been filed. I've seen them out in 48.
Oh, I've seen them out in less than that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say with an affidavit because I can't say for sure because I don't remember if one was written. But just crazy to me to think like I would not sign an affidavit if I didn't know better. Mm-hmm. And if you think that somebody's going to always come in there and tell you, I want to end my life. No, they get in there and they freak out and they're like, I got to get out of here. Mm-hmm. And so now it's a focus on how do I get out? Well, everybody knows how to get out. You tell them you're fine. It was just this depression thing that you were going on, and you're not going to do a thing. And they're like, oh, sounds great, Johnny. Go ahead.
Yep.
And I send you out with a new prescription that's not even settled into your body yet.
Nope.
Yeah. And that's where I think we mess up. Sorry, I know I didn't talk about that in the first one. But
you want to talk about the God moment, though, Shane, about, we had this topic picked out a couple days ago, and then what happened today?
So I had dealt with a guy when I was at Morningstar still. It would have been March of 2022. And he was going through a pretty tough time, but he had left a pretty mean message on Facebook for Morningstar Church. And so I called him up, and we started talking about things and walking him through a little bit of a journey, and thought things got really, really well for him because I never heard from him again. Well, today I'm sitting in church listening towards the end when she's talking about the season of waiting. And then right into the other season, I forgot what she called it, though, the battle season for us, right?
That was it, the battle season.
The season of battle?
Yeah.
And so she was closing out the season of waiting into the season of battle. And my phone is going off from this gentleman. And he's in a pretty dark spot. He sent a message saying, hey, I still don't believe in God, but I want you to pray. Well, what did that tell me? One, you want to believe, because otherwise you wouldn't be asking me to pray for you. So you want to believe. And two, you want help. And so I called him when I came over here for the podcast, and the three of us got to pray for him. And that, man, what a great moment. And I continued to talk to him on the way home, and I knew he needed to feel heard. The only way to make him feel heard was to share some of my story. So we talked about the suicide letter. We talked about those things. He ended up hanging up on me. I didn't tell you guys this because we've been rushing through. He finally hung up on me because when I was walking inside, he said, it's gone too far. Nothing can change. And I'm reading my suicide letter in my head. The same thing that he's saying, I've already said. And I said, brother, it's never too late. You've never gone too far. And I said, you reached out to me because you want help, and I'm here. Mm-hmm. I just want you to come. Just come home and hang out with us. That's all I want you to do. And his fear of not coming home was going to get locked up for 4 days. But the neat thing is he called. Right before we began the podcast, he called, and he is actually on his way home right now. He's going to come hang out. I'm going to get a hold of Chief, and let's get the stuff pulled back so they don't have to lock him up, as long as we have a recovery plan put in place, a safety plan put in place that I know he will adhere to, and I know he will. Mm-hmm. I'm the last person you're going to reach out to if you don't want help.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He hated Morningstar Church. He left a mean message for us, but I reached out anyway and loved on him. Mm-hmm. And he
remembered that.
He remembered today when he was in his darkest moment, he reached out. Mm-hmm. And so, man, you talking about nothing else can happen today, and it's been a good day.
That goes back to Sharon. He got to start to realize that he's not alone. There's other people here, and all you have to do is reach out and call someone, talk to somebody. There's people to talk to. You can talk to your pastor. You can call the hotline like we shared. You can call a friend, call a family member, call someone you ain't talked to in 10 years. I can almost guarantee you it's going to make you feel better by the time you're done.
Yeah, call me. I don't care.
Call him. Yeah. Number is 633.
636-385-2836. You could call me. Call me 3 times. You call me twice in a row. Most likely I'm answering, but you call me 3. I know I'm going to do a backflip and answer a phone because I'll come wherever you are at whatever time it is. I don't care.
Call them collect.
I don't even know if they have that.
They don't even have that anymore. I was going to say, some of the stuff you say, Derek,
you don't even. I love it. You don't have to
Giggles,
get that from prisons
Mr. Giggles.
Anymore.
Yeah, that is true. So, they got video chat in prison now.
That's true. Yeah,
they got JPay and video chat.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that this gentleman feels like he's facing the impossible alone.
Yeah,
and he's not alone. And the fact that he reached out was a sign of saying, I need help.
Yeah,
I need something now.
Yeah, and he acted like he didn't, but you don't reach out to people.
Nope.
Unless you want help.
Especially to a pastor. It's someone like you.
Yeah, but okay, so and here's another piece to that though. Think about it. He's got a church wound. He's got a couple church wounds.
Yep.
And it was wild to see him reach out to a pastor.
Yeah.
With having a church wound, and he didn't know I was gone from Morning Star either. And he still reached out to me because I reached out to him when nobody else would. See, he's used to people deleting his message and blocking him. That's what he's used to when he reaches out and lashes out like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody sits you down and they hear you, and that's all he wanted to do back then was be heard.
Yep.
And so I let him be heard. I understood. I empathized with him, man. We talked through some things. I sent him with some stuff, and now he needed it again, and I can't. I mean, I love it. He was expecting us to fail him and not have three brothers down here praying for him.
Yep. We're going to give him the opportunity. God's giving him the opportunity to work through that trauma, that mental health, that stress, whatever is bothering him. He's going to be able to get through that. Like there is hope. There is always hope. You're not alone. There is always hope. And I can't stress that enough.
But it's hard to see. I mean, during the prayer, it was, you know, I don't know why sometimes that visual comes to me, you know, oceans, when I can't keep my head above the waves, right? Mm-hmm. So we know the sea is just, it's above our heads. We're gasping for air. We can't see anything. I mean, we are hopeless. Helpless, hopeless, you name it.
Right.
And then the disciples are freaking out, and Jesus says, "Why are you freaking out? What the heck's wrong with you?"
Right. Oh, ye of little faith. I think that's the words he said.
Let me calm this.
I think this brings up a good verse, though. Psalm 34:17. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit.
Yeah, I love that, who are crushed in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So things what causes suicidal ideation. Now, we brought up depression and that, PTSD, with some other signs of, you know, things for we're giving listeners something to look out for individuals or even inside themselves. What are some signs of suicidal, you know?
So what are some stressors that lead to?
Here we go. That's what I'm looking for. That's the answers. Yeah. What he said.
That's the thing. So what are some issues going on in life that could lead us to having suicidal ideations? Well, Jeremy said it a little while ago, trauma from his past, right?
Yes.
Trauma's a huge, oh my goodness.
Finances.
That's
a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Money.
A loss of a relationship or a family member.
Job. Loss of anything. That's close to you. Loss.
Right.
Yeah, just put loss.
It definitely is loss, but even we put relationships in a different category a lot of times.
Yes, we do.
Even though it's a loss and we just need to grieve that, for some reason it's our world has left us.
Mm-hmm.
In that woman, in that man, in whatever that is. And I'm not talking about when our friend moves away, because that hurts and that's still loss. We have to grieve that. But there's something about that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only person. And you know what? It's going to hurt. But I promise you could get through it. Mm-hmm. Just come hang out with us. We'll make you feel better.
Well, especially when they get into
Especially Derek.
Yeah. I'll make you laugh.
Derek could giggle you to death, and then I'll feed you to death.
There you go. And we'll all be happy at the end of the day.
Either way, we're going to eat and be happy.
That's right.
And do a podcast in Jeremy's basement.
That's right. Yeah, why not?
And we've only been interrupted a couple times by the dogs, too, which is super cool.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But, so we talked about the history, family history.
Yes.
You know, when you have family members that have taken their lives, and that kind of gives you that's the only way out. My, you know, dad did it or grandpa did it. You know, so there's the only answer.
Well, you could look through people's family trees and see a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it usually don't start down here. It usually started back here.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's back at the beginning.
So, in other words, you're saying it's even a mental health issue because it's more hereditary than
right. I think it's more evident in co-occurring, like co-occurring mental, like addiction and mental health.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Well, you see it a lot in addiction, right?
Correct.
But is what I'm saying, no matter what, there's that piece in our brain. If it's hereditary, it's in our DNA that way. And that's a hard thing to look out for.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. Where we at? Facing the impossible. When we don't have that answer.
We already talked. We kind of hit on that a little bit. Because we were talking about the individual who called. He's facing this impossible. What seems to him like it's this impossible thing, right? But he can find hope in knowing that there is a solution to the problem. I think, especially in addiction, we focus so much on the problem and not the solution. We know what the problem is. We know that we're alcoholics, we're addicts, we have mental health issues. So what's the solution? Stop focusing on the daggone problem.
Right. But there has to be a solution other than that. One of them we've said, I think, 2 or 3 times already, and the number's going to be, and I know it's not a hard number, but the information is going to be in the notes. 988.
988.
But what else? I mean, you mentioned calling family and friends, but we don't always want to reach out to our family, to our friends, because one, we don't want them to know, or we don't want them to make a phone call right away. What are some other solutions that we can work towards or have?
Go to meetings. And you go into a meeting, even if you're not an alcoholic or an addict, there's people in there that are dealing with the same type of stuff you are. That's what drove them to using in the first place, I feel. So, going to a meeting and being around like-minded people really helps out a lot.
So a suicidal ideation meeting or?
An AA meeting. Go to NA meeting. Go to Celebrate Recovery. It don't matter.
They have those meetings?
And I'm not being mean. It's just like, but we say meeting, and if somebody just happens to stumble across this, they wouldn't know.
Okay, yeah.
Because they think, I'm not an alcoholic, so I wouldn't go to an AA meeting if I have SI, suicidal ideation, because I'm not an alcoholic. Wouldn't they kick me out?
Absolutely not.
No.
You mean they would love on me?
Yes.
Exactly where I am. And I think that's what's neat. You want a solution, get around people that could understand you. And they'll walk a journey with you, and they want nothing but the best for you, and they don't want anything from you except for you to get better.
Isn't that an Adele song? I want nothing but the best.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, it is. Yeah, he went there. Yeah, we're gonna have it like that on this show. But no. But I mean, how many people in an AA or NA AA meetings and that who are beginning to feel that their addiction or their alcohol was their form of that suicidal ideation. If I'm just going to I'll just drink myself to death, and I'll be fine and everything will be better. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it this way, whatnot.
So we're going to go to Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12.
Okay.
And this will wrap up AA, NA, Celebrate Recovery, wherever you want to find yourself to get around somebody. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other one up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they'll keep warm, but how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves, and a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. And I just love that thought of being in community with people. People to not only love on me, but to protect me. Protect me from me, and protect me from whatever else is going on inside of my head at that moment. Mm-hmm. And so I just, the scripture screams community.
Right. I think one thing, so we've been talking a lot about an individual recognizing their, suicidal ideations. I think we really need to get in touch with how are we as individuals able to recognize somebody else's, signs and that somebody's given out that they could have the suicidal ideations that, maybe we need to go talk to this person before they go any further. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I think, especially being close to a loved one that is in addiction, if the drinking or using is more than usual,
they accelerate a little more in their using.
In their addiction.
Yeah.
Pay attention to sleep patterns. Pay attention to different behaviors, wording of things. Mm-hmm. Because they'll start at passive. Just start asking for help. they'll start there at passive, and they're going to try to drop those little things, but they don't want to make it too obvious. Listen for those words. Just pay attention. Are they eating? Are they getting rid of stuff? I mean, that's like one of the big things that I did. I started getting rid of everything in my house, all the way down to my dishes were gone. Mm-hmm. I literally had 2 Xboxes and 2 TVs in my house. That's what I had left, and a couch. Everything else was given away. Mm-hmm. And nobody asked anything.
Right.
But it's signs like that, like you're sharing right there, yes, what we need to look out for. Mood swings. You know, you see somebody that could be happy at 1 minute and the next they're not, and they haven't been diagnosed any other way. It's kind of,
Yeah, it's not bipolar.
Right.
I mean, it could be, but.
Well, yeah,
right.
That's what I didn't want us to use the word, but yeah,
that's the whole thing. We got to use the words.
Yeah. That's
true. In order to break that stigma, we have to normalize it. Like Jeremy said earlier, we need to normalize suicidal ideation so people are not afraid.
Right.
But now the thing is what do I do as a family once I recognize these behaviors in my son, my daughter, my husband, my wife? What do I do?
Call a pastor or a therapist or call somebody, man.
I think it starts with just having an open and honest conversation with that individual.
Yes.
Because it may just be that I just need to talk to somebody, but I feel like nobody's listening. Kind of like what Shane said. Like, he got rid of all his belongings and nobody said anything.
Nobody asked.
Yeah.
And it's because as a society, we're not equipped. As loved ones, we're not equipped. Mm-hmm. You know, I had a discussion with a guy. He wanted to be argumentative. I told you about him on Friday when we met, when I'm leading groups. And he's like, but that's not a normal situation. Most normal people wouldn't do that. And I'm like, why wouldn't they? Mm-hmm. If your kid is using, why wouldn't you get your kid help? What are you going to do otherwise?
Why wouldn't? What?
I don't.
Somebody argue that with
you? Yes, he was one to be argumentative.
You seem a little dumbfounded.
I am. Like, your kid's using. Why aren't you going to do something about that?
Well, because when they get back, they're just going to use again because kids don't listen. But that's not the point. You kick their butt, but you love on them with some really, really good hardcore discipline in there at the same time. And then, you know what? You take your kid to a meeting when they get home. But it's only 13. Great. I know a great landing program you could take them to.
Right.
And the landing is Celebrate Recovery for teens, basically, for the youth. There are resources, but people just don't know about them. If you have questions, you could check out Reclaiming Hope. You could go to reclaiminghope-mo.org. We'll have a link down there for you. And we'll send you resources. We'll get you put in contact with the people that you need to get your loved one help. If you don't know how to have the conversation, come see us and we'll help you have the conversation. We'll either come to your house with you or we'll at least walk you through how to have the conversation with them.
Yeah, and I would say stand up and do something about it. Don't expect somebody else to do it. Have the conversation. Be the one that has that conversation and ask those difficult questions.
Right.
But they'll probably want guidance on how to have it, right? Because wording, we know this, communication is key. If I go to you wrong, I could shut you down. Mm-hmm. And we don't want them to clam up. We want them to see this as a lifeline being thrown to them because we love them. Mm-hmm. And so there's wording. If you need help with any of it, please just let us know because we would love to help. Those of us at Reclaiming Hope, any other place, there's a lot of places out there that would love to come in and walk a journey with you and help you.
Yep.
I thought you were going to say something, D.
Because I'm just really, we just want everybody to know there's hope out there. There's help. There's not just hope, there's help. You just got to make that call. You got to reach out. If you don't know, like you said, if you don't know what you're doing, get a hold of somebody. There's somebody out there that you can get in touch with that will walk you through this. We do it all the time. It's something we enjoy doing. We enjoy helping others.
I'm gonna say something that kind of piggybacks on what you said earlier. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's not a favorite thing to do, but to teach people how to have these conversations that can change a life. That's how it could be a favorite, because I just love to do it. I love to equip people. We love to equip people to have these tough conversations to go in and impact the life because we want them here. Tomorrow needs them.
Mm-hmm. And this is really a shout out to those individuals out there who are seeing family members, friends act certain ways that could lead to such things as suicide. don't sit there and try to, ignore it and thinking, oh, they're good over it, because it doesn't happen that way. Too many times we see people just thinking, oh, it's no big deal. He was thinking that same way last week, and he did something like that a year ago. It's just, he's not going to, man, no. Get off your butt, call somebody if you need the help, get in there, say something to that person. If they've been doing it, I think that goes more into the chronic thing of it, that they've been suffering for a period of time, that they're just getting to that point.
So, Jeremy, we touched on it earlier. How long were you in passive all the way to chronic? How long did that season last for you?
3-4 months. And so, can I share a little bit of this?
Man, please, always.
It's kind of impromptu, I guess. But, yeah, and I just want to warn my mom and dad who've never heard this story, and everybody who's never heard this story before, just be aware. When I lost my career about 6-7 years ago, and I didn't find recovery for another couple years. And I really wasn't, like I stated earlier in the podcast, I was never really suicidal. I had the thoughts of, yeah, I can go to sleep and not wake up, but never really a plan. And then I was sober for a period of time, and then I relapsed, and sober for a period of time, relapsed, and I did that on and on for the next 5 years. And what happened in June of 2021 was, I can't explain it. I was running, the best way I can explain it is I was running from God. I was trying to hide, and I couldn't get away. And so fast forward to October, and it was my father's birthday, of all things. My wife had enough of me, so I'd been living out at my cabin for, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks, something like that. And I was isolating, and I was left alone with my own thoughts and alcohol. And I wrote a letter, and I had a pistol, and I dry fired that thing when I was completely gone. I would dry fire that thing in my mouth over and over and over again. And then I just knew that one day I was just going to throw a bullet in there and it'd be done. And so on October 21st, it was a beautiful morning, and I planned to do it all that day, and I sent this kind of cryptic message to my good friend in Kansas City. It said, this is where I'm going to be. I'm done. I don't want to live tomorrow. And then I heard a car. I was sitting on my dock, and I heard a car coming down the road, and I'm like, I didn't remember. I was so drunk, I didn't remember anybody saying they would come out, and it happened to be my mom. And I'm her only child. And right then and there, it hit me that, wow, she was going to be here, and she would have found her only son right here. And then I remember, I do remember that her and I got into this. She was upset with me, and I remember getting my car and leaving, and there's no reason I should have been driving home from the hour, 45-minute drive or whatever it is to get here. No reason I should have been driving. I got pulled over by a trooper on my way home because I was flying. I didn't get a ticket. I didn't get arrested, and I was beyond driving. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but I was not sober to do anything at that point. But I knew that I needed help finally, because I didn't care if I lived, but I also didn't care if I died, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I realized that all this pain that I had been holding on to for so long, I finally just needed to let go of. And it sounds easy to say I surrendered now, but it took me a while to surrender to that. And what's crazy is it also took me a period of, I don't know, it was probably about a week or 10 days. And I finally start to become a little bit more clear-headed and looked back, and I'm like, why did I want to do that? And then a friend of mine said to me, he goes, if you would have ended your life, people would only remember you as the guy who gave up. People wouldn't remember you for all the good things you did. Life would go on. And then I was like, huh, okay. I mean, it was kind of a kick in the you know what, because I was like, no, people are going to remember me for all this stuff. But they wouldn't have. They would have been like, yeah, this is Jeremy. He committed suicide. And I mean, I went so far as to like justify ending my life through scripture. You know, it's like King Solomon fell on his sword, and he wanted his soldiers to what?
That was Saul that fell upon his sword.
Saul?
Yes.
I was just enjoying listening to him.
I'm sorry, but
backing up suicide with scripture. But yeah,
was it?
Yes.
Go ahead, keep going with your
Keep
story.
going with your story. I'm sorry.
We're good. We're gonna take that out, by the way. No, but I was just I was thinking that, you know, I could outrun God, and I figured that I would arrange the meeting faster. I thought I would take it in my own hands. But it turns out that God had a plan for me the whole along. Kind of like what Shane was talking about earlier. I can't imagine this life that I have now. And I think I had to, that was my breaking point. That right there, and what happened that day was nothing short of going back to what I was saying, like 10 days went by, and I realized, wow, I shouldn't be here. Everything that happened that day was planned for me way long ago. Like, God knew I was going to do that. God knew I was going to be at that point in my life. And the only thing I could do was cry out to him. And that is when my relationship with God really took off, I would say. It's always been there, but I always said I believed in God, but I never had a relationship with God. And, you know, Shane read it from Ecclesiastes, you know, a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken.
Mm-mm.
And it's like, you talk about community. Well, who's that third strand? It's God. It's like, if I have God at the center of my life, things are going to be, they're not going to be easier, but I know that I'm not alone. And I think that goes back to what we're talking about, is you are not alone in this. If you have these thoughts, okay, talk about them. Like, don't let your pride and ego get in the way. Like I did mine, like Shane did with his, you know?
Yeah, because the big issue is it's not weakness when we talk about it. It's not weakness when we ask for help. To me, the weakness is sitting and suffering in silence.
Because you're not strong enough to go and ask for the help.
Yeah. It takes a hell of a man. It takes a hell of a woman to ask for help, to say that I need help. I can't do this alone. And you know what? You're right. You can't do it alone, and you're not supposed to do it alone. And we don't want you to do it alone.
And also back out to those people who know somebody is dealing with things that they could be going through as suicidal ideations. You don't have to go to that person alone. Call one of us. We'll be more than willing to come out there and help.
You know, we talked about it a while back when we talked about depression, right?
Yes.
When Elijah was running for his life, and he went to the wilderness and laid under that broom bush, and his cry out to God was, take my life, for I am no better than my ancestors. And when I think about that, I go back to Psalm 42:11. Why, my soul, are you so downcast? Why so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God, for I will yet praise him, my Savior, my God. When we're in that place where we can't see, when we have no hope, when we can't see anything in front of us but darkness, we fall to our knees, we lift our hands, and we just cry out. And it's okay.
I like this 1 Peter 5:7, where it talks about cast all your anxieties onto God because he cares for you. He has a purpose for you. I know everybody sitting at this table at this podcast have had our doubts about our purpose in life and what God had planned for us.
I had a doubt last week.
You did that last week.
You know what I mean? It happens. We're going to doubt ourselves, but man, our God is so big and he loves us so much that he still hits you with the 2x4 and says, look, stupid, you're still on the right path. And that's what he has to do sometimes.
Without a doubt.
I also think it's okay for you to question God.
Always.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to be mad at God and yell at him.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because at least you still believe. So family, please, don't sit and suffer in silence. If you struggle with suicidal ideation, please don't sit and suffer in silence. There's so many people out here that want to walk a journey with you. Mm-hmm. We've given you some great signs what to look for, some great resources that you could go to, and all of them will be in the show notes, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to go get a pen and paper now. But I do want to make sure that we close with a couple scriptures, but I want to read this one before we end up closing and going into the other ones. Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. See, the flames will not set you ablaze, for I am the Lord your God. No matter, come hell or high water is what they used to say, I think, right?
Yeah.
God is with you through the worst times. When you can't believe that he is there with you, I promise you, when you get out of this darkness, when you get through that wall, you're going to see God the entire time. You're going to see God's grace through it all, because we could only be here by God's grace.
Amen. And those of you out there who know somebody, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Make that call.
Jeremiah 29:11.
Yeah, it don't ever hurt to read it.
Yeah.
For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future.
So our show was based off of 1 Thessalonians, right?
Yes.
5, 6 through 8. I know we have 6 through 7. I like the 8 part.
Okay.
So then let us not sleep as others do, but let us be alert and sober. For those who sleep, do their sleeping at night, and those who get drunk at night. But since we are of the day, let us be sober, having put on the breastplate of faith and love, and as a helmet, the hope of salvation. Do me a favor, close us in Isaiah 41:10, my brother.
Isaiah 41:10 says this: So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
And that don't mean he's going to smack you, but he will love you.
That's not God laying hand on us suddenly.
No. But sometimes we need it. But I love that scripture because he will uphold us. He will walk through it, and he's going to put people in your life, just like we are right now, that will help walk a journey with you so you will never be alone again.
Amen. All right. So
anything to close, my brother?
Hey, man, just like I said, if you're dealing with you feeling you're dealing with any of these ideation, any of these signs, call somebody, reach out, make the call. Really,
Jeremy just
he killed that one, didn't he?
Wait, no.
And more than anything, if you know somebody, do not hesitate to reach out. Yes. You might be that last call that person needs before they decide to go. You may be the only help that they actually have. Make the call.
Yeah, and just saying hello to them and sitting with them and listening might be enough to start the change.
Yes.
So, Jeremy, any closing remarks, my brother?
If you see something, say something. Do the next right thing.
Yes.
There we go.
Jesus loves you. No matter where you go, you can't outrun him.
I was wondering how many more slogans he was going to come in. Hey, look, this is a hard topic. It really is. Churches avoid it, and a lot of other places try to avoid it. And I'm proud because you two seen the need. And you know what? I didn't see the need. I do see the need, but I didn't see it the way that you guys did. But it became apparent when I walked in today on the phone with somebody that was struggling with it. And
where we work at and that, we come across a lot of individuals, and that, yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be said.
Yeah, and we see it all the time, and maybe the problem is it's too normal for us. So I'm proud of you guys because it was a great topic to talk about, and I think the more we could educate people what to look for, the resources that are available, and about having those conversations, I really think it'll change lives and save lives. So thank you both. Mm. To the rest of you, man, we love you. Hop on there. Remember, info@awakensober.org. Send us your emails if you want to help with the podcast at all. We'd love to have you. We'd love to also hear your stories.
And questions.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, ask your questions. We would love to answer them. I would love to do a podcast
Of
a
all
whole hour
questions?
long of nothing but people's questions.
Yeah, I think that would be a fun live one. Answering questions live and having more questions come in would be a blast.
So we need somebody to come in and work our machines in order for us to do that.
I was going to say the closing song on here is gone, so I'll keep talking. But I've got a lot of effects we can do here. We got
No, not that
we
one.
got that one. Got applause.
Yes, because it was a great show. Thank you guys.
Got alarm, air horn, drum beat. Oh, well we can.
Did you find it?
There's drum beat. Yeah, it's not there anymore.
Remember, you can find us on every podcast platform. We are out there, and we will be back on YouTube soon. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about us.
Love you guys. God bless.
God bless.
Peace.